Hi there, I'm Kirsten Neese, the Marketing Director for Cornerstone Homes. Today, for Tuesdays at 2, we have a glorious afternoon out here at Chickahominy Falls after crazy amounts of rainfall over the last couple of weeks. With me today, I have Matt Glover. He's with the Crescent Group, which is our development arm of Cornerstone Homes, and Randy Blitz with HG Design Studios, who is a consultant for us with our amenities. So, hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to step out of the camera and let you guys kind of tell us all about the pond here at Chickahominy Falls.
Great. All right, well, thanks for having us. My name is Matt Glover. I'm an assistant project manager with the Crescent Group, and basically my role in the company is to develop all the common areas and then amenities that we offer in each one of our communities. So that's this pond area, that's any little pocket parks or dog parks, and all the landscaping in the community is something that I oversee. And I actually work very closely with Randy over here to do all of that.
Thank you. My name is Randy Blitz. I'm with HG Design Studio. I'm a senior project manager there, also a landscape architect. I've been working with Cornerstone Homes Crescent Group from the very beginning of this project. We went through the zoning together, and I've worked on all the amenity pieces of this development.
Great. Well, with that, let's take the path now from Woodside Meadows down to the pond. I'll follow you guys, and Matt, if you want to start talking about what we've got in front of us.
All right, so what we're looking at is the community's stormwater facility, stormwater management facility, or a BMP. And basically what that works to do is it basically takes in all the water from all the community, from the entire community, from the roadways to everything else involved. All the path of the water leads here. And basically what we work to do here is to ultimately treat the water through the filtering of aquatic plantings, as well as just moving it around in order to let the sediment hit the bottom of the pond and basically allow the water to travel to the Chickahominy River without any sediment in it.
Guys, tell us a little bit about the 4 bays, and I see this like island of plantings, and I know all of that is really important to the pond. So can you describe how that all works to filter the water?
Yeah, so as Matt said, everything from the community comes through all the pipes and the head walls. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that drain everything from this development into here. Each head wall will dissipate, push the water out into a 4 bay. And this long linear item you see is a constructed wetland. So everything is designed to slow down the water, to filter the water before it leaves the pond. On the shoreline, being that this is a level 2 BMP, which means we're treating it before it gets to the water as well. There is a series of different levels of plantings put in for upland wetlands, for slope stabilization, and for shoreline. They are all native plants that are designed to help filter the water, remove the nutrients that we don't want down the Chickahominy or the James or the Chesapeake Bay. So that planting, you can see it's a little rough right now because of all the rain that we've had, but they are starting to come through. But it's all native plants that are designed for a purpose to help keep the water clean.
And so basically they are going to look a little grizzly, and they're only mainly around the pond's edge. And so what we're working to do is, since we can't manage those very intensely and can't cut them down too much, what we're doing is we're bringing certain accent points along the edge of the pond. So basically we'll be bringing sod down to the pond's edge, have maybe a bench area or sitting area where you can fish and enjoy seeing the pond. But for a lot of this pond's edge, it is going to look like a natural pond that you would just see. And that works to help filter the water. But what we're also trying to do is we're also trying to dress it up a little bit. And so what comes into play with that is we actually have a recommended seed mix that is an upland meadows mix. And basically what it is, it's a combination of different plantings and everything, but all native Virginia species that are flowering, stay about 32 inches high, and will ultimately stabilize every part of this BMP, as well as adding a little bit of color and a little bit of aesthetic quality to this area.
So just if I can jump in for a second, we've got the trail kind of in place for a majority of the area. Tell us a little bit about what's going to happen over the next couple months here out at the pond, and kind of you've done the first sort of phasing of some structured landscaping here on the outside edge of the trail, which is starting to look really pretty. And then you were talking about the seed mixture, and then now what's next? Like finishing the trail?
So what's ultimately next is, well, the seeding will be one of the first things we do, and that we're waiting for a more hospitable time to ultimately do that, just because it ensures the seeds survival and ultimate growth, and then also allowing those plants to have 2 growing seasons before they ultimately die out.
So the next step here is to finish the trail for the whole neighborhood's use. Right now you can see about 75% of the trail is in. We've got a partial loop over here, we've got a partial loop over there. There's a few pieces that need to be tied together, including a footbridge over here, and we've got a small piece of trail that needs to be finished in the corner that was waiting on to finish up with some stabilization and some stormwater pipe that needed to go through. Once we wrap that trail up, we'll start working toward the water. As Matt mentioned, we have a native seed mix that's going to go in to some of these areas to enhance the already planted wetland plugs that were DEQ and Hanover County required. Once we get all that established, we're going to start decorating some of the head walls. We've got some boulders, some plantings, and some other decorative features, whether it be staining the head walls and just general beautification to make it visually pleasing to anyone who walks down here to walk this loop.
And on top of that, we're also adding a few accent areas along the pond's edge. So we'll be bringing sod down to the water's edge in order to allow you to fish or just take in the pond. And then as well, if you want to zoom in over in that corner over there, we'll be having an overlook area there, basically just a little lookout area off the trail, and we'll be putting on some boards on that little overlook area, further describing everything that's going into this pond and what it ultimately is, because it's more than just what it looks like.
Yeah. So again, the sod, it's not going to go all the way down to the edge of the pond. The sod's just in a couple areas to allow for access to the water's edge for fishing or frogging or whatever somebody might like to do, and check out what's going on down at the water's edge. Ultimately, there is a plan for a pier and a fishing dock down in the northwest corner over there.
Yeah.
But that is off in planning probably sometime in 2021.
So that will ultimately be done with the development of the clubhouse complex, because that ties into the trail coming off and it ties into that whole area. So that's when we'll ultimately be finishing that dock and pier.
But all these other overlooks are going to be done at some point through the next several months, and by the end of this year, and then everything will start to grow in. And then in the winter months, everything just dies off, right? So it just sort of dies back?
So everything will go dormant in the winter, just like anywhere else you see in the woods or any other lake that you might visit. The key to what we're trying to accomplish here is to bridge that gap of having year-round interest. So bringing the sod down to the water in certain areas, the grass will stay green in the winter. Adding the plantings that were non-regulated plantings into these beds and adding additional trees will give you interest throughout the year.
Great. Well, this has been really informative. You guys have done a great job. I know this is just an enormous project, not only because it is, bringing all the water together from the whole community, but also making sure that it is a central focal point for the community and spot for the residents to gather and be here. I know it's pretty quiet right now, but it's midday. I know I see a lot of residents already taking advantage of the trail here, and I've seen some beautiful shots of some incredible sunsets over the water's edge here. So thank you guys for your time today. Thanks for coming out and explaining a little bit more about this. This is the first part of the series of the pond, and we'll do another one as the plantings are installed and kind of explain to you again what's going on, and plan to have this as a bit of a series as the installations occur around the pond. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.